Welcome to FORDIFY. This week's episode is going to be exciting. We're going to be talking about the AI revolution as it relates to sales and marketing. So by now, I'm sure you've played with ChatGPT, and we're going to cover some things on that, but I really want you to be considering how AI is going to affect your job, your career, your business, your sales, your marketing, and all those things. So if you're interested in leveraging the power of AI, this is the episode you want to be on. I hope you post your comments below. We'll be getting to those during the show. And again, you're watching this on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, and of course, wherever your favorite podcast is for the replay. All right, well, let's get right into it today. People always ask me, what's the impact of AI? Well, according to some research, and do the research, but this is kind of common sense, right? The use of AI, so we'll just put this big for everybody who can see it. The impact of AI on the global economy is that it could add as much as 15 or 16 trillion to the economy by just 2030. And of course, we know how important data is to how we compete and market in today's economy. So let's get into the double-edged sword, which is really the whole episode, because, I've had my friends call me and say, hey, Ford, you run an agency. Are you going to get put out of business? It's not that we're going to get put out of business, but business is going to change. How we market is going to change. Now, I did an episode on AI a few weeks ago, but this is so important of a topic that I wanted to revisit it here because there are still a lot of people. I know there's some people on the cutting edge or the bleeding edge, as some people refer to it. But this is such an important topic that it was worth another look to really help business owners, franchise owners, and executives understand how it's going to impact them. So let's make sure that you're really clear on a couple things. First, AI can be a double-edged sword. It can absolutely automate tasks. It can evaluate data. It can write sales copy. It can assist with customer service and lead generation. But what it can't do is it can't bring empathy, adaptability, and creativity that builds real trust and rapport with your customers. So this isn't about AI replacing anybody. It's about how you work together with AI in your business. So when someone says, hey, will AI replace? No, AI isn't going to replace humans, everybody, but it will replace humans that aren't using AI. And it absolutely is going to be disruptive and get rid of some jobs. So if you think about the jobs in your organization, if it's a repetitive job, it's probably going to get replaced by technology and AI. Now we're going to get into specifics because I'm using AI as a wide brush right now. But as AI continues to advance, which it is at a rapidly pace, it's replacing workers in a variety of industries, especially as it relates to marketing and sales. Now, I've been using AI for a long time. Way before ChatGPT came out, I was using Jasper.ai when it first came out. It was actually called a different name and they changed it. Then I was using Quillbot, and then I started using Copy.ai. And I was using a lot of these technologies. And what I was figuring out is that a lot of them were really the same under the hood. They had different nuances. So if you're new to this and you're getting seduced and you're saying there are so many different choices, and I don't want you to get seduced by technology. So on the screen, this is just a few of the common ones that are out right now. So ChatGPT also uses the engine, Chat or GPT-3. I think I have 15 of them. Didn't really count when I put this list together. But the big daddy, of course, is chat.openai.com. But the reason I put a picture of a car with the hood is the engine underneath all of these is ChatGPT. So what people have done, what companies have done, is they're using the generative pre-training transformer, GPT code, and then they're putting different flavors on it, and then they're selling services based on that flavor. So you could spend the rest of the afternoon or the weekend going through and checking out all the ones. Why is Jasper better than Copysmith or Copy.ai? Look, they all have nuances. Again, we talked about that it can't replace humans, but I want you to start with chat.openai.com. Start there. The biggest distinction that I want you to make is that when you go to online to use ChatGPT and you're starting to practice it and people are, advancing and coming up with new ways to ask it questions, keep in mind that this is not a search engine. It can't tell you who won the World Cup yet. It doesn't have current events, but it's like it's read every book on every subject And it's like hiring somebody. So I actually pulled my staff into my room and I said, look, I got these copywriters in here. I want you to leverage the power of AI. I have web developers. I said, I want you to use the power of AI. I have a media digital specialist. I said, I want you to use it. You get the point, right? And so I told them that they needed to use this technology because it's going to save them time. But I also told them extremely with hard caution that it's not a replacement for common sense and human factors, because AI can actually create the wrong answers too. So just because it gives you an answer, there's no validity as to whether or not the answer is right. So you, as a business owner, salesperson, marketing person, executive, franchise owner, franchisee, franchisee, you have to ask yourself, when you get the responses from chat.openai.com, is the information correct as far as you understand it? Otherwise, don't use it. That's really important, because the chat, it can give you the wrong answers and it can send you down a rabbit hole the wrong way. So the takeaway right now is, I need you to be practicing with this and thinking about how it's going to impact your business, because it's definitely going to impact your business. Like I said, you can sit on the sidelines and you're going to get run over. Okay. So maybe that wasn't a good analogy, but you get the point. All right, let's continue. All right. So we talked about it being a double-edged sword. We talked about the fact that, it can automate tasks, but it can't do the empathy part. So let's take a look at some of the benefits and the drawbacks of using it. So let's go through the benefits first. Well, obviously using AI bots or chat, I'm going to use AI generically. So if I use AI or ChatGPT, you get the point. It's using the technology, right? Whatever service you're using. It can certainly save you time. That's going to save you money. It can perform automated, repeatable tasks much more efficiently and more accurately. When I use accurate, I'm saying it can perform the task accurate. I'm not saying that if you use it to write copy, that the content will be accurate. Data-driven decisions. It can analyze large volumes of data and pull key distinctions from that data. So, whether it's looking at a blog and asking it to summarize the key points, and again, the purposes of this episode today is how AI is going to affect your sales and marketing. We're not talking about how it affects teachers and attorneys, because you can go say, write me a contract between this person and this person. And, you can do that. We're going to talk more about how to best use it in a minute, but let's continue with the benefits. So personalized recommendations. Imagine using the AI, which I use on our sites at Prime Concepts and ProfitRichResults.com, that can actually tell who the user is, and then it can change dynamically the page based on who the user is. So it's dynamic pages. And well, that's all AI driven, right? It can understand who that person is or where they're from, if it can identify it, or if they've already visited the website and we have a profile on them. So that's one way it can do it. So data personalization, improved targeting, of course, because you can get more data. 24/7 availability. Chatbots have been around for years, and I used them. I'm an early adapter. I used chatbots years before they became popular. Now, when I go to a website, I don't know about you, type into the chat, type into the comment section of this video, are you using chatbots on a scale of 1 to 10? 10, you use them a lot. 1, you don't use them at all, right? So I use them now because they're getting smarter and the answers they're returning are better. In the early days of those chat conversations, they weren't really helpful. You call the company and the company says, visit my website. And then you go to the website and it says, can't reach us, fill out this form. And can't reach us, go to the chat bot. And you answer the question in the chat bot and it says, fill out the form. And it's just this cluster, storm of data, not giving you the answers you want. But it will definitely help you when it comes down to being available 24/7, which helps improve the customer experience, which helps you build trust and credibility. And if you're helping your customers, then it's a win, right? And of course, that's the last point, is improved customer experience. All right, so let's take a look at the drawbacks. AI in marketing and sales, it's going to replace a lot of jobs. If you're someone who got hired just for copywriting, you're going to need to learn some new skills. That lacks creativity. AI, it can't do humor. You can ask it to try to use humor, but at least as of now, as the time of going live, it can't do it. Ethical concerns, can Can it replace humans, and is it right? And is it ethical that it replaces those jobs? And is it plagiarism? Lack of human interaction, of course, because a chatbot is only programmed to do whatever it's been programmed to do up to that point. Dependent upon technology. Imagine, I saw something on TV the other day that there was a McDonald's where they replaced all the workers with robots and technology. And now there's this backlash, right? Because I guess it squirted hydraulic fluid into the Coke, or hypothetically now. So if you're from McDonald's, I don't know this for a fact. And just like anything on the internet, you need to fact check. And I'm just saying, imagine a business that's built their model on technology. If technology goes down, then it's going to hurt the business. So that's really the key point that I was trying to make. So forget McDonald's. I love you guys. I love franchising. We're all good. Okay, let's move on. The next one is initial cost to implement. Well, that's if you're trying to do a custom solution for your organization. There's so many off-the-shelf programs right now that you can use. The 3 that we're using in our agency right now, of course, are chat.openai.com, jasper.ai, copy.ai, quillbot.com, I think it is. And so they're still built on the same engine, and I've used all 3 with different types of questions, and I get very different results. So again, don't get seduced by technology. The best technology is the one that you really use over and over again. And then, of course, there's limited capabilities, which we just talked about. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of this. You've decided to set up your account, and I highly recommend you do it because right now, as of this live, it's free to get a beta account. It's not going to be free much longer. I can't imagine that they're just going to give everybody a free account forever. It's going to be a paid account. I mentioned this earlier on my last live event that if you download the app has paid options. I actually bought one because I was hoping I'd get grandfathered in. So I spent the money for an annual access to the app so that when they do a paid model, I can still get in at whatever, because I think they're going to raise the price. I just think they will. All right, so let's talk about how do you get, what it is, it's disruptive, you've got some ideas, but how do you get the most from it? Now, I've spent about 1,500 hours using AI with AI chatbots or GPT-3 to understand how I can get better information. And what I've learned is that the more specific you give it the question, is that the right language there? English? I don't know. Let's see. The more data that you give during the question, the more context that you give during the question, the better results you're going to get. And the more you use, you need to get out of the Google mindset where you're just doing a search. This is not a search engine. This is not going to tell you current events. Like I said, this is something that's like a sentient being that is smart and that you can ask it questions and it'll give you data. You still have to use common sense. So let's get into some common ways that salespeople and marketers can use AI to really leverage themselves. So I put some questions up here. I'm going to make them full screen so people can see them. So here's some very simple questions. So, for example, what are effective techniques for lead generation? Tips for successful email campaign? Best practices for landing pages? What are strategies for customer retention? Now, these are very basic questions. So we have lead generation, email marketing, landing page copy, customer retention, negotiation. But it can go much deeper than that. You can say, give me a marketing calendar, write social media posts, come up with creative titles, create 5 social media posts with titles and hashtags and my link, which is what we used to promote this episode. So if you got here live because of one of our posts, guess who wrote the post? Okay. Alex, my producer, certainly helped do it, but he was discerning. But we used chat.openai.com to come up with the titles and to come up with the social media posts. So just think how much time that's saving from him having to come up with it on his own. It can also come up with ideas for the images. It can, the capabilities are endless. So write this down. If you think it, you can do it. I asked it to write an Excel table that I could use for my marketing director in Devon, and she's a little rock star. And I wanted to have a report that we could use weekly to measure our key performance indicators as it relates to marketing. So I asked it, please create a detailed report of the top common KPIs for marketing and salespeople to measure the performance based on advertising, social media, and media. and put it into a table. Now, that's a pretty long question. And it created amazing content that I was then able to copy and paste. They created the Excel spreadsheet, and I was able to do that. Now, when we talk about our technology team here, I've used ChatGPT to help write code. Okay, I wanted to figure out the code. I could never remember the code to populate an email subject line. So you know how some websites, the customers sometimes they say, like, I want my email on the website. I'm like, I am against it because people scrape it for spam, but okay, you want it, I'll do it, right? But as long as I've advised you first, you can go against my advice, but I'm not responsible for the results if you don't listen to me. So I couldn't remember how to populate an email subject, the code, so that when someone clicks on the email, it pre-populates the email message. Well, it wrote the code. I couldn't remember how to do email to text messaging so that contact forms get sent as a text message. Now, let me slow that down. If you have a prospect or lead form on your website, I know it's going to go to someone, your sales team, for email, but I think you should also send it as a text message because people respond faster to text messages than they do anything. Okay. So you definitely want to look at how you can do that. All right. So let's continue. So you want to ask it code for sales, for marketing, and you want to drill down further as it relates to any of these subjects. Maybe you're in sales and you want to overcome objections. How to overcome price objections. How to overcome price objections for a B2B sale with an executive. Well, you're going to get a much different answer than if you say how to overcome price objections for a homeowner where the husband and wife don't agree. Okay. So again, the more creative you are at asking the questions, the better answers you're going to get. Let's take a look at a few more common ones for sales and marketing. So you can ask better questions. So how do I use social media to increase brand awareness? Now, not just how do I use it, but you can drill down for hours on what's the best way and what's the messages and write a narrative. And, you can even, a popular book that I like in marketing is Donald Miller's Story Brand. When I read it, I was like, holy crap, I should have written this book. It follows a lot of the same philosophies that I've been teaching for years, but Donald Miller, all credit to him, he put it into a book and it's his book. It's more widely known than me, even though I've got lots of books, and I'll show you my new book, which just came out. So I've got this one for franchising, Accelerate, the ultimate guide for franchisees to maximize local marketing and boost sales. So it's available on Amazon. You guys can go check it out, but it's really only if you're a franchise brand or franchise owner or a franchisee or a top producer. But this is a book on local marketing, right? Because franchisees need to improve their local marketing. So you can use the ChatGPT to ask better questions to come up with how to overcome objections, how to improve the customer experience. You can put in a series of data from a report, let's say, and ask it to analyze key distinctions from it. So one of the things I did with the narrative from today's episode is before we post this for replay, we're going to take the transcript. And then I'm going to take the transcript and I'm going to put it into chat.openai.com. And I'm going to say, please create the show notes from this episode. And it's going to put the episode, it's going to put the title, it's going to put the key takeaways, it's going to put the benefits, the features, and the calls to action, all that into a show notes, including hashtags. And then I'm going to say, turn that into social media that we can post to drive more viewers to the replay. So again, this is like hiring a sentient being to work for you. All right, let's continue with the last part. And so here are the final key takeaways for today's episode, which is AI can definitely improve efficiency by automating tasks and allowing humans to go focus on other skills. So you need to ask yourself, what are the skills? What are the activities that I'm doing on a regular basis? And then think, okay, that might be a great way to use AI. And of course, the last takeaway is, it's not either or. It's not humans or AI. They both need to be considered for effective teamwork. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've been talking about AI, the AI revolution as it relates to marketing sales. Put your comments below if there's something else you have specific questions on. Connect with me if we're not connected, and I'll see you Wednesday. So let me switch the screen here. My producer's going to get mad. Well, hit the timer button. I don't know why that's on there. Let me Alex, you're going to have to fix this. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time on Fortify Live, where we help you fortify your business.